Inside this video topic, we'll discuss a very interesting concept of WordPress, and that is how to integrate a chart using custom plugin inside WordPress websites. Yes, friends, inside this video topic, we'll discuss a step-by-step process, and inside these processes we'll follow. And first, we'll create a custom plugin, and inside that custom plugin, by using a chart library and some fake data, we'll integrate a bar chart for WordPress website. Now to start the integration process of chart using a custom plugin, let's go back to browser. So right now I'm inside my local WordPress website project, and here if I go to plugins, click on install plugins. So right now inside this WordPress admin, inside this plugins list, I can see here we have some dummy plugins. And remember, inside our previous videos of this channel, we have created two plugins, like for generate test users, and second, that is of PDF generator. So inside these videos or inside these plugins, actually we have used some different third-party packages. For these generate test users, we have seen that how to integrate Faker library inside WordPress custom plugin. And second, for this WPDF generator, we have used the concept of DOM PDF. Now, in this video, we'll discuss the concept that if I want to create a custom plugin which basically generates or create a bar chart with some data, so how to do that. And one more thing, friends, before starting this concept, that if you think that this video is really very helpful to you to understand the concept of integration of charts using a custom plugin, so if you find something helpful from it, so please hit the like button to like this very interesting video. Subscribe to this channel so that I'll be creating so much amazing contents for you. Now let's get started about this very interesting concept. So first, I'll open this local WordPress project into my VS Code editor, and here it is. So then I'll go to this WP content folder, plugins folder, and inside this plugins folder, first I'll create a custom plugin folder. So right now inside this plugins folder, let's create a folder, and I will say WP-chart demo, and inside this plugin folder let's create our plugin file, that will be main plugin file. So I will call it as wp-chart demo.php. Now quickly let's add some php comment lines so that this custom plugin will be introduced into WordPress. So here PHP tag, then multi-line comment syntax, and here first I will pass plugin name. So I will say WP, let's say chart demo. Then I'll pass description. So this plugin will create or will generate a bar chart with some data of sales. Now then after I will pass author, then I will pass author UI. It means the portfolio of that author. So I will pass for the time being some dummy URL, and here plugin UI, dummyurl.com, and finally I will pass version number. So let's pass the value 1.0. So right now we have some PHP comment lines. So after writing all these things into this main file of this custom plugin, if I go back to browser, let's reload. And now we can see that inside this plugins list, here we have one more plugin called WP Chart Demo. So this is plugin name. This is all about plugin description. This is our version number. Here we have our author name, and behind the scene, this is hyperlink. So hyperlink is nothing. This is author URI. So what basically we are trying to create using this custom plugin. So first, let's create a checklist. So if I go back to VS Code, let's open a new tab. So here, like setup, a custom plugin, and then after on plugin activation, I want to create a new table let's say some kind of sales data, new table for sales data, and this table will create inside WordPress database. So create a new table in WP database. And also after creating that table, also we want to seed, also we want to insert some fake data into it. So here insert some fake data. Why we need fake data? Because obviously to create a chart to display into our plugin, we want some data. So this is our second point of this checklist. Then after we'll create a menu. Let's say add a plugin menu in WordPress admin panel. And then after, once our plugin will generate a menu, and whenever if we click on that menu, it will open a page, and into that page we'll have our bar chart. So here let's add a plugin page which opens on click of plugin menu, and that will contain that will contain the bar chart bar chart display. And one more thing, that for this bar chart we'll use a plugin that is called chart.js. If I go back to browser, already I have opened that. So here we can see chart.chartjs.org. So by using a library in a very simplest steps, we can integrate a bar chart with some data into a custom plugin. So this library we have to use. So here we'll use chart.js. And one more thing, that this is not only a single plugin that you can use and create a bar chart into your web page. Obviously, apart from this library, also you have multiple options. If you go and search over Google that what are jQuery libraries to create a bar chart or in fact chart, you will see multiple options. So I will choose this library to create our bar chart for this tutorial. Now successfully, here we have some points of this checklist, what basically we have to follow to create a custom plugin to integrate a bar chart for WordPress websites. So let's go back to our main plugin file, and here let's start our logic. So first I want that actually this is a WordPress plugin, so this plugin will work inside WordPress website. So I will add a checkpoint. So let's say if not defined, not defined, and WordPress basically provides a absolute path variable. So if it is not defined, so in that case simply exit. What basically this line means that this will be a PHP file, but it will execute only inside WordPress website where this absolute path, which is a constant, will be available. Now then after, so we want to create a table inside our database of WordPress. So for that, we have to use a function of WordPress, and that is register activation hook. So I will follow some class-based approach to create this custom plugin. I will say class wp-chart demo, and inside this class, let's say public function. I will use construct like a PHP constructor, and inside here I will call a function of WordPress that is register activation hook. And inside this function we have to first pass our main file path. So it is double underscore file and double underscore, and second will be the callback function. So by the help of callback function, we'll create a dynamic table on plugin activation inside WordPress. So I am following class-based approach. So if I go and copy and put here, so for example, let's say that I'm not following this class-based approach to create this custom plugin. So in that case, first argument, it is okay. And the second here, callback function name. But in this case, inside this class based, actually, we know that all the functions inside this class will be a method. And those methods, if I want to call, we have to use the object of that class. So here, if I go and let's say that public function function name. So if I want to call this function inside this callback function, we have to pass this variable like this, which is an instance of this class. So how to pass that? So inside this class, if I want to call this function, like if I want to call this method, so let's copy first the function name, go here, create an array, and first I will pass the object of this class, which is this, and second the function name. So this is a quite difference between whenever if we are trying to create a custom plugin using a class-based approach and with non-class-based approach. Let's remove this one. Now here I will make some meaningful. So this will be, let's say, generate dynamic table, or let's call it as generate plugin table. Let's copy this function name, put it here. Now pass a semicolon. Now inside this function, I want to create a dynamic table inside WordPress database. So here, what we need, so to create a table, we need a function of WordPress that is dbDelta, and dbDelta function will be available to our generate table plugin function whenever if we include a file called upgrade.php. So if I search Control P overall inside our project, and if I search upgrade.php, so you can see that upgrade.php file is coming from wp admin and includes. Let's open that file, and inside this file, which is inside wp admin includes folder upgrade.php, and if I search, so it is going to provide a function called dbDelta. So by using dbDelta, we can execute our query to create a table inside database. So first we have to include this file to this our function called generate plugin table. So here what I will do, let's say include once, and then after absolute path, and here wp-admin, and then we have to go inside includes folder like wp-admin includes, and then upgrade.php, so /upgrade.php. Now, once we include this file, then we can use dbDelta function. Now, inside this function, we have to first pass our query. So, like we have to write some SQL code, MySQL code to create a table for database. To save our time, what we can do, let's go back to browser, go inside database. So, this is our WordPress database. So, here I'll create first table by using the manual approach. So, I will go into this DB PHP my admin DB, and here let's call it as wp-sales data. This will be our table name, and inside this table we want something, let's say 4 number of columns. Click on create button. So it will open our interface where we can define our table columns as well as the data type of those columns. So here for this table, let's say our first column will be IT, second, I will say, let's say month, and second or the third column, let's say sales. Basically, this table is going to store that how much sales we have per month, and we don't need actually this fourth column. So here, if I want to choose the type, so IT, integer is okay, month, it will be varchar, and sales, let's say varchar. And here for this varchar, we have to specify some length. So let's say 50 characters. And also for this, let's say 50 characters. And this ID column will be auto increment. So here we have AI. Let's choose. And inside this index, you have to choose this primary. Now, after doing all these things, let's go click on save button. And successfully inside this database, now we have created a table called WP sales data. But the thing is that this table we have created by using PHP my admin interface. This same concept, we want to create this table using the code of plugin. So first, let's copy this table name, go to SQL tab, and here write this command very carefully, that is show create and table and the table name. So by the help of this command, actually we'll try to generate the create statement, the create command for this table. After writing this command, show create table and the table name, click on go button, and here inside this go to extra options, Click on full text, click on go button, and now you can see the create statement of this table called WP sales data. So what you have to do, just copy this command. So I have copied. Let's go back to VS Code, and here sales table, put our single quote, and inside this single quote just put all those queries. And the next step, let's go back to our database, and then after I'll go and delete this table because this table we want to generate dynamically. Now this table does not exist anymore inside this database. Let's go back to our code editor. So then after, let's remove this engine InnoDB and also this default char set. So if I remove all these things from here and let's say char set equals to WPDB, or before using WPDB, let's say global WPDB, and then after, let's say WPDB. This is WordPress database object of WordPress. So I will call git charset collat. Now then after, let's copy this charset. It will give the charset of WordPress, and here I'll go and simply concatenate. So single quotes, two dots, and put here. Now then after, let's copy this sales table query and just pass into this db delta function. Now successfully inside this function, now here we have the path, like the file path, which provides the access of this db delta, and inside this db delta here we have the raw query to create WP sales data. And also this prefix we can see here, we have the static. Also to get the table prefix into dynamic manner, here let's say table prefix equals to WPDB prefix. Now let's copy this table prefix which returns the dynamic database table prefix of WordPress, and here just remove this WP underscore, put single quotes and two dot. Now successfully all things looks good now. Now if I save these changes, let's go back to browser, and here if I go and reload, click on this activate button, activate link of this WP chart demo plugin, click on it. Now plugin activated. If I go, let's reload, and I can see that table has not been created, and it's because here we have the class, but this class we didn't call while on plugin load. So what to do, just copy the class name, and here I will simply call here. Now after this, if I save all these changes, let's go back to browser, let's go here, click on deactivate. Now plugin deactivated. If I go, let's reload. So total number of tables equals to 12. Now again I will activate. So plugin activated, and if I go and reload, and now we can see inside this database here we have 13 tables where we have created one more table dynamically, that is WP sales data. Click on that table. Now go to structure. So here we have ID, month and sales. So successfully, now we have completed one more step of checklist. It is how to create a dynamic table on plugin activation into WordPress database. Now in the next task, also we have to insert some fake data into this table on plugin activation. So what to do? Let's go back to VS Code. After creating this table, also we need some fake data for this table. So what to do? So here I have some fake data you can see, like inside this data variable January, this is our total sales. February, this is the sales value, and so on up to this June month. Now according to these data, I have to display a bar chart by using our custom plugin. And one more thing, like let's cut this table name from here, and I will create a variable, let's say table name, and this is the value. Let's remove again, so this will be table prefix, and then I will concatenate with this sales data. Now let's copy this table name variable. So go here, so create table, single quotes, concatenate and pass this table name. And then after I will go and write one more query. That is, first let's count that how many data already available into our table. So data count equals to wpdb. Then I will use a method called getVar, and here let's say select count. I want to count all those data already available inside our sales data table from table, like the table name, and the table name we have inside this variable called table name. So either we can write something like this, or simply we can concatenate something like this. So select count from table name, so it will return the count value. So right now inside our table we have no value, and in case of no value it means overall we have zero count. So in that case we have to insert this fake data. So here, if data count equals to 0, it means we have no rows. So in that case, let's say for each, I will iterate over this data array as dt, and here I'll use WordPress object insert method, and inside this insert method first we have to pass the table name, and here inside this array we have to pass the column name and the value. So inside table we have two columns, as we know, like month and sales, because id is the auto increment and a primary key column, so we don't need any value while insertion for this id. We want only value for this month and sales column. So if I go, let's pass column name call month, and from this dt we can get the value from this 0th index. So it will be dt and 0th index. Now the second value call sales. If I check the column name here, so sales here, just copy, put here, and this will come from the first index of this array. So it will be first index. So successfully, here we have some piece of code. So on plugin activation, it will check that first it will create this table. Then it will check that if we have total count equals to 0, then it will go and insert some fake data into our table. Let's do a like an action. So if I go, let's delete this table first. Click on drop. OK. If I reload, click on deactivate. Let's activate again. Plugin activated. If I go, let's reload. So here we have WP sales data. And if I click, and now we can see inside this table, here we have some data, and these data we have inserted with our fake array. So successfully, this is one more point that we have completed from this checklist. So this is completed, and this is also completed, and obviously we have done the plugin setup. Now in the next step, I want that on plugin activation also we have to create a plugin menu inside WordPress admin. Let's go here. So inside this, like inside this construct method, what I will do, I will call one more function, that is add action, and inside this add action I will pass an action hook name called admin menu, and here we have to pass the callback function. So we are using the class based approach. So I will pass first the object of this class, that is this instance, and here let's say generate plugin menu. Let's copy this function name, and here let's create one more function. So public function generate plugin menu, and inside here, I will make use of one more WordPress function, that is called add menu page. And inside this is a WordPress function. So inside this function, we have passed multiple parameters, multiple values to create a plugin menu inside WordPress. So first, page title. So I will say WP chart demo. Then after menu title, what the title will be displayed inside our, like inside WordPress admin. So I will say WP chart demo. Then capability, what type of users they can see this menu. So I will pass the permission label called manage options. It means that super user can easily see this menu. this plugin menu inside admin. Then after menu slug, so I will say WP chart demo. Now then after callback function, it means whenever if we click on plugin menu, what things we want to execute. So as we know, this is class based. So to pass the callback function array, this the object of this class, and here let's say handle plugin action. Now this is callback. Now in the next value we have to pass the icon URL, and then after we have to pass position. So to find a proper icon URL for admin panel, if I go here, let's search for dash icons. Now click on dash icons. Now, after going through this dash icons, if I scroll down, so you will see multiple options of our icon. So according to plugin need, we can choose any icon. So inside this video, as we know that we are trying to create a bar chart, or let's say a chart with using a custom plugin. So if I see this icon is okay. So here, simply copy this class name. Actually, this is the class name. So just copy. Now after copy, let's go here and just pass it here. Now in the next value, we have to pass the position. So like this is the position where you want to display your plugin menu. So to understand the position number, if I go and let's go back to browser and search for that function called add menu page WordPress. Click on this function. Now inside this function, you will get the complete documentation about that how to use this function to create a plugin menu. Now we are looking for this position. So if I scroll, now inside this documentation, you will see some number and the already defined live plugin menus. So here we can see this dashboard. This dashboard is coming at number called 2. So for example, if I want to insert our plugin menu just after this comments, so if I check the comments number, so it is 25. It means if I pass a value called 30, so automatically our plugin menu will come after 25. It means after this comments. So let's go here and pass the value as 30. And then after, let's copy this callback function of this menu and let's define here. So public function and the function name. And for the time being, if I write here, let's echo within h1 tag, let's say WP chart demo. Now if I save these changes, go back to browser again, let's reload, and now we can see after comments here we have the icon URL and the plugin title. So let's click on this plugin and now we can see WP chart demo. So successfully, now we have completed one more step of checklist, that is how to register, how to create a plugin menu inside WordPress admin. Inside WordPress admin by using a custom plugin. So here this step also now completed. And the finally, we have to look over chart.js integration into a custom plugin so that we can create a bar chart with our fake data. So to create a bar chart, first thing first, we have to include a library called chart.js into our plugin. Like inside this plugin, we have to use a plugin link. So if I go to chart.js, click on get started. Now it will guide that how can we use bar chart and what is the syntax, what is the data format we have to pass to create a bar chart. So inside this, if I click on getting started, click on getting started. So you can see that we have to first include a link, that is the plugin link of this chart.js called https cdn.jsdeliver.net npm chart.js. So whenever if we include this library to our custom plugin, then we can use this code to create a bar chart. You can see bar chart, and after integration we can pass this value like labels and data from our database. So first thing first, we have to include this file to our plugin. So how to include? Let's go back to VS Code. Go to our plugin. Now inside this plugin main file, just go inside this construct method. I will make use of one more action hook called add action, and the action hook will be admin enqueue scripts. Now let's pass the callback. So current object, and here I will say add plugin scripts. Let's copy and add somewhere here. Let's say plugin function and function name. And inside this function, actually, we have to first link chart.js. So to add chart.js, what basically we have seen here, let's copy first the URL of this script. So after copy, go here and I will make use of one more WordPress function and it will be WP in QA script. Now here, first we have to pass the handle which is the unique identifier of this script. So here I will pass, let's say, chart.js. Now the second value, we have to pass the source file path. So the path will be https what the link we have copied. Now then after, we have to pass some dependency. So there is no dependency with this WordPress. So here I will pass blank array and I will pass the true value. So successfully, now this plugin chart.js will come with this plugin. Now then after, also we need a custom script file where we can write all these code section. Let's go here. So WP in QA script. And before adding that file, let's go inside this plugin folder. I'll create a folder called JS. And inside this folder, let's create a file called script.js. I will add for the time being, this is custom script. Let's save this file. Go here. So WP in QA script, I will say custom script custom hyphen script, and then after let's pass the source like the path of this script file. So it will be plugin dir url, and I will pass double underscore file and double underscore. So after getting this plugin dir url, we have to go like inside this js folder and then after script.js. So it will be js folder and then after script.js. Now next parameter dependency. So this file like a script.js, as we know from this code section that it is completely dependent on this chart.js. So here this script file will be dependent on this script. So let's copy chart.js, go here, put an array and pass here. And then after let's pass true value. So successfully now here we have chart.js and here we have custom script. Let's copy this custom script and if I go back to browser, plugin is already activated. If I reload, go to source code, so right click, here we have view page source option or press Ctrl U, and if I search for custom script, now we can see that inside the source code this chart.js is also coming and here we have script.js. If I click and now we can see custom script. So in the next step, what we can do, just go here, copy this complete code, copy this complete code and just paste inside this script.js file. Now if I save all these changes, if I go and if I reload, and now we can see those code now appearing inside this script.js file. But inside this code, we can see that it is taking some value. Like here, this is a static value which we have copied from this code, but we have to change according to the value of database table. Like these values will be the month value of this table, and the sales value will go to this data. So how to get that? And also inside our page, like inside this page also we need a id like inside of like html element which has a id, and the id will be called my chart, so that by taking that id it will create this bar chart and integrate inside this my chart. So also we want html element and that element will have a selector id called my chart. You can obviously change that. Let's go back to VS code. Now first I will go to this plugin main file to this add plugin scripts because we want the month values and the sales value for this code. We can see here the month will be go here and the values will go here. Let's go inside this add plugin script global WPDB and then after let's say table name. The table was we have called WPDB prefix and the table name we have called sales data and the data equals to let's say WordPress object get results. Let's write a query to select all those data from this table. So the query will be very simple, select all from and the table name we have called table name. So this variable will now have the values like all those values what we have inside this table called id like month values and the sales values. But remember, we are only interested to get these all months values and all these sales value because all these month values will display inside these labels and all those sales value will display inside this data. So how to do that? Let's go and here I'll use WP localize script. It's a WordPress function. I'll pass a handle. So let's pass custom script the same handle. It means the code what basically this WP localize script will generate. This code will stick at the footer of this custom script. So let's copy, go here, pass here, and then after let's pass an object name. So I will say chart underscore data and inside this third argument we have to pass the value. So what I will do, let's pass an array and inside this array I want the month's value and I will use one more function of WordPress that is list plug and here we have to like pass input list. So this is the input list data and from these data I want the field of month. So what basically this function will do from this data set and this data set is an like array of object and from these values I want to only pick the value of month and also for sales data again I will use list plug and from here input values we have data and inside this data I want to pick only the sales column. Now successfully if I save, let's copy chart data. If I go, let's reload the source code and if I search somewhere and now we can see that inside here, inside this variable called chart data and this code we have added only by using the WordPress function called WP localize script. So here chart data and inside this month we can see all those month values and inside this sales all we have the sales value. Now it's very easy, super easy to access all these values through this script.js. So here instead of writing something like this, what we can do, as we can see that this is an array. So simply chart data, and if I put chart data dot months, and for this data, let's remove, and it will be chart dot data dot sales. So chart data dot sales. And if I go, so for the time being, if I write console.log, and if I pass, let's say chart data. If I save all these changes, let's go back to browser. Go here, right click, click on inspect, go to console tab. Let's reload one more time. So now we can see that inside this console tab, here we have an object and into this object, here we have two properties called months and sales. And this is nothing but this is chart underscore data. So in the next step, what we have to do, we have to bind all these values with our code. Already we are doing, as we can see, labels chart data dot months and data chart data dot sales. And one more thing, as you can see that inside this code, it is taking some ID and on the basis of the selector ID, which is an ID of HTML element, it will create some bar chart. So right now, this ID is not available inside our web page. So what we can do, just go into our main plugin file inside this callback, I will remove this static message, and what I will do, let's create a div tag. I'll use a class that is an inbuilt class of WordPress called wrap, and with this h2 tag, let's say wp chart demo, and then after I'll create a canvas element, and inside this canvas element, let's pass an id attribute, copy this value. Obviously you can change it. Let's copy and pass it here. And also, if I put some values, let's say that height equals to, and I will pass, let's say 500, and width equals to, let's say 500. Now if I save these changes, and one more thing, just go into this script.js, let's do some formatting, and okay, let's cut all these code from here, and we want that whenever the document completely loaded, then our code should work. So in this case, let's say document dot add event listener, and here DOM content loaded, and inside this I want to run our function. So function, and inside this function this will be our complete code. So if I save these changes, let's go back to browser, and if I reload, let's say hard reload, control F5, and now we can see that here we have a bar chart according to our values. Here we have the month, and here we have our sales value. So height is taking too much. So what we can do, instead of 500, let's say 300, and let's say width equals to 400. Save these changes, and if I go, let's reload, and now we can see this time it's look good. So, and also here we have some static values, that is hashtag votes. So instead of that, let's pass, this is data of sales. If I save this, let's reload, data of sales. So inside our left hand side, this is the sale value, and inside each of the bar, here we have the month wise sales value. So successfully, inside this video topic, now we have a complete idea about that how to integrate, how to create a chart using chart library, and obviously by using a custom plugin of WordPress. So according to this checklist, now successfully this is also has been completed, and also we have used chart.js, so this is also gets completed. So friends, if this video is really very helpful to you to understand the concept of integration of bar chart into custom plugin of WordPress, so please hit the like button to like this very interesting video, subscribe to this channel so that I'll be creating so much amazing content for you. And now it's time to meet into next video session. So for this video session guys, thank you for watching and have a great day.